Hello, you've caught me working out how many years I've been playing video games, so it's... and it's 20...
Yeah, a long time. I'm an experienced gamer now. I've been round the block a few times, seen generations come and go, and endured young people having online conversations about growing up with PS3 like it's some kind of Bronze Age relic of video gaming history.
Flipping young people with their youth and hair. But anyway, with experience comes wisdom.
And I'm now at a stage, as I'm sure many of you are, where I just know video games. Like, I know the medium, I know how they work, I know what I can and can't do in them, and also I feel like video games now know themselves a bit better, like they're comfortable in their own skin, as if we're past the emotionally fraught teenage years and are now settled into a comfortable rhythm where we know that X is jump and R2 is shoot, and that the camera always defaults to non-inverted, as opposed to the olden days where you'd have to relearn your entire sense of spatial orientation every time you played a new game.
I know the language of video games now as well. For instance, I know that a dead end usually means loot, and that a big open space at the end of a corridor means boss fight.
And that zips and leather coats mean buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, and brace for imminent cutscenes. Crucially, I also know the things you really shouldn't do in games, actions that will often have catastrophic results for your protagonist, but that, for some reason, we just can't resist doing.
Here are 7 such foolish things every gamer knows you must not do, but we all still do them anyway.
Number 1. You test to see if you can fall off the edge. There was a time, many moons ago, when invisible walls would shepherd you away from the cliff edges or the sides of bridges, and it wasn't so much a hand-holding device as a means of shielding the code of yesteryear from the stress of processing your often self-inflicted plummet into oblivion. Basically, invisible walls are a throwback to the technical limitations of old hardware.
And so nowadays, you pretty much know that if you edge towards the edge, you're probably going over it.
Games are massive now. They're like, yeah, jump off me. I'll render that environment for you as you hurl past it at 60 miles per hour. Don't even worry about it. In fact, some games sort of want you to do that now and have completely eliminated full damage just to show off. Look at Mount Olympus in Kingdom Hearts 3. You can basically skydive off the top of it and plummet onto whatever unlucky Heartless are milling about below. No damage, no problem. But for every Kingdom Hearts 3, there's a Dark Souls, a game that rewards your downwards nosing with what it deserves: death. There was a time where we'd always test jumping off the edge. That time is past. Just don't do it. You will almost certainly die. Same goes for entry number 2, although this is a thing I just cannot help doing every time I start a new open world RPG. You must never stray into the faraway bits with the high level monsters.
It's like just passing your driving test and then instantly getting behind the wheel of a Formula 1 racing car and driving off at 200 miles an hour.
It might be fun for a bit, but it will all end in tears. I know it's tempting when you're first dropped into a new and gorgeous world to take in as much as you can, stick your nose into every cave to see how far the universe stretches. I remember doing this when I first played Skyrim. I just picked a direction and walked. Whatever happens, happens, I thought. What happened was I found a cave full of frost trolls, and they turned me into Dragonborn soup.
And that's like a good outcome. Sometimes games simply will not tolerate you accelerating into them too fast.
Grand Theft Auto, for example, sends every cop in San Andreas after you if you stray outside the area in which the story is currently happening. You know, you've got to earn your right to get that far. I made this mistake in Ni no Kuni 2 as well. As soon as I got the means to travel wherever the heck I wanted on the world map, I was off, exploring faraway islands, searching for rare loot, not taking into account the level 60 plus monsters stomping about all over the place.
So push that rising wanderlust back where it came from until you're a high enough level, okay? I don't know why I'm telling you this, I'm not even going to listen to myself.
The third foolish thing every gamer knows you must not do, but we still do it anyway, is attacking in-game authority figures, just to see what happens. It's funny, isn't it? We've all played the Rampage game in Grand Theft Auto, enrage the law, see how high you can push your wanted level and for how long you can evade pursuit. But the thing with GTA is when it inevitably does go south, you just get busted or wasted.
Which, for the uninitiated, is GTA speak for arrested or killed.
And then released back into the world with everything reset, admittedly your bank balance and weapon inventory included. In Skyrim, however, if you're a proper idiot, like I was this one time, you can pretty much ruin your entire game. When I first played the game and discovered you could literally get away with murder in Whiterun if you just told the guards, hey, I'm a Thane, I can kill if I want, I naturally went on a bit of a spree.
You know me.
What I didn't realise was the I'm a Thane tactic doesn't work multiple times, and that even heroes who stopped dragons torching everyone to death aren't above the law when they start murdering everyone they'd become a hero for saving in the first place. So yeah, there I was in Whiterun with all the guards after me. I was a member of the Companions at this point and so ducked into Jorvaska in the hope they'd take care of the guards for me and, well, let's just say those Whiterun guards are persistent and the Companions are not infinite in number.
I then had a situation where I'd activated an autosave with all the guards after me, and so every time I loaded up the game,
I'd be faced with an entire army of Whiterun police all ready to, and I quote, bathe in my blood. I eventually managed to escape by stun shouting them enough that I could run away into the hills before eventually returning and accepting a hefty bout of jail time, but flippin' heck, it was nearly a case of start the entire game again. All because I couldn't resist firing arrows at a guard's backside. When will I learn?
Never. I will never learn.
Entry 4 is something I do all the time, and I know I shouldn't. And it happens when you're fighting bosses. There's a moment in boss fights, and I've talked about this moment before, where you've nearly won. You've been patient up to now, you've got your strategy down, you've been methodical, and you know one more blow will see you to victory. And so you think, let's make this look good.
You let your guard down. You go charging in, mashing that attack button, figuring that the law of averages means one of your blows has got to connect.
Do not do this. Win boring. Keep your shield up. Play slow. The amount of times I've charged in for the final strike only to flail my way helplessly to an embarrassing defeat doesn't bear thinking about. You have to see it out. Keep your cool at match point. When the boss has only a sliver of health left, treat it like they've still got a full HP gauge.
It's easier said than done though, isn't it? Sometimes you just want that final blow to look cool.
Games like Kingdom Hearts 3 and Devil May Cry 5 give you a cool slow-mo finisher at the end of a fight, and you want that bit to look sexy, don't you? You don't want to go slow-moing a basic attack. It needs to be something you can share on Twitter. I was capturing some Dark Souls for my last Friday feature, cheesing the hell out of the tourist demon, and thought, hey, screw it, let's make this look good. And yeah. Welcome to entry number 5, people who try and like racing games but aren't very good at racing games.
Hello.
Racing games are hard, aren't they? Driving well is difficult, staying on the road is a real challenge at speed. But there's a very specific thing you must never do, but you always will, and that is braking late to overtake. Now, start any racing game and the first few hours will be a wrestling match between you and the handling of whatever car you've chosen to try and tame. You'll be looking to other cars to check racing lines and when you should brake. You don't know the tracks yet, so you're not confident of your ability to actually outdrive your opponents, and so you make the fatal mistake. You try and outbrake them, like a game of same direction chicken where the loser spins off into the gravel and gets sympathetically respawned on the track a few moments later when the game's internal programming is done laughing at your ineptitude.
It's so hard to resist doing this though, isn't it? You can see the cars in front of you slowing down, and if you're like me, your naive racing brain thinks, yes, this is how you overtake.
And you slam straight into a corner. What follows is the lap of shame, where you drive around the track not seeing a single other racer because you're so far behind. Don't brake too late, kids, no matter how tempting you may find it. The sixth foolish thing every gamer knows you must never do is skip tutorials, the video game equivalent of chucking out the instructions for your new piece of flat pack furniture because you can't be bothered to read them, and for God's sake, it's just a coffee table. How complicated can it be?
Very complicated, it turns out.
Don't ignore the tutorial. It is not a wise move, especially if you're playing something like Elite Dangerous, where you've got to look at 27 different screens just to undock your ship. Not really, but that's what it felt like for my idiot brain. Because in the long run, you will thank yourself for taking that extra little bit of time at the beginning to properly learn what it is you're doing, as opposed to learning through 5 hours or so of bumbling failure because you haven't bothered to learn what all the controls are. A prime example of me not paying attention to the tutorial was in Final Fantasy VIII, where I had to start the entire game again because I hadn't properly understood the junctioning system. Sorry, Quistis, I did mash X on all your helpful dialogue. I just wanted to hurry up and get to the next flashy FMV sequence, okay? The video game equivalent of skipping through a book just looking at all the pictures. Yes, that is me. Don't be like me. Final entry now, and this foolish thing is so very hard to resist, and at the same time so very foolish, because to rectify it you basically have to do a whole other playthrough. I'm talking about making bad story choices in games, or choices that may solve an immediate problem but create a much bigger one for you down the line, or basically just killing friendly NPCs because it's convenient and or fun.
I'm thinking in particular of when I first played BioShock and I was hungry for Adam.
Adam being the thing you need to unlock new powers. A very easy way to get lots of Adam very quickly is to harvest the little sisters.
Harvest.
This rewards you with lots and lots of Adam, but you know it's a bad thing to do, and sure enough, if you don't save them, which is definitely the right choice unless you're being deliberately heartless, you get the not very nice ending, so you ruin your chances of seeing the story come to its nicest conclusion, all because you were greedy. Similarly, in Abe's Odyssey, it really is quite fun to creatively murder all the Madokans, you know, dropping them into meat grinders and such.
I mean, come on, the game is basically begging me to do this, don't judge me.
But then Abe gets chucked into a meat grinder at the end and the Gluckans win, so, you know, it was fun, but ultimately very foolish. Another example, Undertale. You know you should be complimenting your way out of battles, but sometimes it's hard to know what to say and much easier to just kill stuff. Kill everything. No talking, no mercy. Bad time at the end. So there you go, 7 foolish things every gamer knows you must never do but still does because, you know, fun. Let us know in the comments if you can think of any other examples. Give us a like if you enjoyed the video and hit the notification bell so your phone gets a little ping whenever we upload something new. Thanks for watching and see you next week for another Friday feature.
For the players.